Hey friends, this podcast is a bit different than what you normally see me talking about on my different YouTube channels, whether it is my English YouTube channel or my Urdu YouTube channel. Because normally I talk about passive income, I talk about how you can make extra money when you are doing your 9 to 5 job, or how to liberate yourself from your 9 to 5 job. But in this podcast, I actually invited Ali Chishti, who is a good friend of mine as well. He is a journalist as well as a businessman. It's a good combination, and also he has a vast experience of entrepreneurship. So I discussed with him how somebody can start a business, let's say starting from $50,000, if somebody has a budget of $50,000, or let's say $100,000, or even $500,000, or up to $1 million. What are the options for someone who has this kind of money if he brings this kind of money in the UAE, or somebody who is already working in the UAE and want to start a business from this amount? What are the options? Like, what are the conventional options, and what are the no-go areas for someone starting with this kind of money? All these kind of things we have discussed. Also, we have discussed about the technicalities of getting a bank account, getting trade license, what kind of trade license is important, and what kind of trade license should you apply. Apart from that, we have also touched about golden visa and how somebody can get the golden visa and what are the benefits of golden visas. We have also discussed passive income a bit in this as well, because this is my core interest, but more focus of this podcast was the active income, or somebody who wants to start the business. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe, and if you find value in this podcast, please like the video and share in your circle as well. Without further ado, let's begin. So how are you, Ali?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thanks for coming. And the point of this discussion is to have some deliberation on if somebody is coming to Dubai, and Dubai is the power hub of this region. And if I'm going to say the whole world, it's not going to be wrong, because it's center of the world. So if somebody is coming to Dubai for business purpose, or let's say if somebody is in this region working, let's say as a 9 to 5 job, and he wants to start a business, I would like to have some conversation around that.
Yeah.
How can someone start a business, either from scratch, or let's say having some presence here with family and with 9 to 5 job, and want to start something on his own? So first of all, give us your introduction, please, if somebody from this audience doesn't know.
Yeah. Basically, my name is Ali Chishti. I've studied in England. I'm from Pakistan. I'm a journalist. I'm an author. Who went into business. Got multiple businesses. Have been, alhamdulillah, been successful. In Pakistan, we had a business in Dubai since 2011. And we expanded. Moved here about not long time, but we used to come every month to Dubai, and as a husband, wife, and couple, and we decided to move to Dubai and make it as a primary residence somewhere just after COVID, about
Right.
2019, end of 2020. And the reason for Dubai is obviously it's multicultural, it's safety, it's provide the dollar is pegged, so a lot of and as you've discussed, if you've just told me that it's been the center of the world.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons for us to be here was for all these reasons.
Right.
Now the question is, if somebody wants to come to Dubai,
So
yeah,
before we go into that, if somebody is listening for the first time,
yeah,
how somebody can delve into, let's say, journalism, politics, and then business as well. So these are three different, let's say, not completely different, but contrasting.
well, that's a very difficult line to toe, because I've worked with the U.S. military directly in Pakistan as the main chief correspondent for military.com, and written over 4,000 articles published in India. And so we became journalists out of cause when things were tough in Pakistan.
Right.
And in 2009, I realized that journalism, although is not just a dangerous job, but it's, I think, the kind of lifestyle which we had, we needed to form some sort of a business to somehow subsidize our life. And we thought, why not? We had some money, and we invested in money, and we went to IT. um, you know Became successful in that. To handle such, we came to a point where we have five multiple offices. We've got multiple businesses, and we formed different businesses which we'll discuss. But how to handle this, it's been one of the reasons always, I'm working about 15, 16 hours a day, looking at things. But you have to have good managers to look after. The one things we established was good management. I'm at a role where I look at the strategy part only, and the finance part, obviously, it supervise that. But point is that you should have good managers to do that. And I think a lot of our audience which actually have established businesses in India, Canada, US, or anywhere, who wants to come to Pakistan. My suggestion for them is not to close their businesses, because um, somehow businesses, we've a lot of people would agree with me that we've actually formed these businesses with our own blood, and these businesses made us, you know uh, what we are today. And so if you want to move to, you know to Dubai or any other country, just don't close those businesses unless they're in losses. Keep them alive. Don't de-invest from these businesses, but keep them as a primary source of your funds. um, get good managers, get good controls on this, um, and then move to Dubai, so you would actually secure your own bread and butter when you come. I think if you have a good running business in Pakistan or India, anywhere in the world, it could subsidize your life, or actually pays off everything in Dubai. You can. I know friends who has businesses in India or Canada or Pakistan, who live in Dubai and don't do anything. So um, don't close your businesses.
So this is for someone who is coming from Pakistan or anywhere else in the
Anywhere,
world
yeah,
and starting scratch in Dubai.
yeah.
So let's talk about expand this further, and then we'll talk about someone who lives in this country as an employee,
Yeah.
and working towards the creating some kind of business. So you're saying that if somebody is already having a business in back home, but again he might not be able to bring a lot of money. So we might be talking about someone who's bringing in, let's say, $50,000, $100,000, or let's say 500,000 or $1 million, whatever the case is. So we're gonna expand on to what are the possibilities if we are coming into Dubai and having this kind of money, starting from 50,000 until, let's say, $1 million. So what do you suggest for such kind of spectrum? Just a quick break. If you want to start your journey for investing in the US stock while staying in the UAE or the wider Gulf region, there are multiple apps that you can use. I use personally two of the reliable apps, which are Baraka and Sarva. These two apps have been phenomenal for me. I've been using these for the last couple of years. And if you want to start the journey, if you want to use the referral code, and if you haven't got the account yet, then you can get $25 or $50 depending on which app and depending on the terms and condition. The link is in the description below. If you use that referral code, you will get the referral bonus. Terms and condition apply. Now let's get back to the video.
So let's start with $50,000, which is roughly around about
180
180 200,000 dirhams. Obviously, he had to rent his place in Dubai. Look after schools and everything. So rental. I would tell him, suggest him to rent it out. If you're renting it out, just rent it out in Sharjah, because it's way cheaper than Dubai. Sharjah, I think a lot of people has this old Sharjah in their minds, where a lot of dust and everything. I think Sharjah has grown and outgrown recently, in last 15-20 years. Sharjah matches lifestyle to any other modern city in the world, right?
Yes,
It
yes.
has the best schools, the infrastructure. I think a lot of people has this opinion that the traffic rush hour is the main hurdle, but somebody who's moving is not working, and is a business, you wakes up around 10 or 9:30 or 10 a.m. in the morning, and you go to work at 11. Sharjah is a place to live. You can get 3 bedrooms for 10,000, for $7,000 a year. Good place. 3 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms to start with in Dubai, in Sharjah. And Dubai is like 5 minutes away, 500 minutes away from. So you just need to, smart, invest your money smartly. Somebody who's come up with $50,000, roughly would need a trade license, or can, so he's got multiple options. If you want to go on, I would suggest to first work um, in an area, or try to learn, spend time, a month, 2 times, in understanding what he wants to, where he wants to invest. Let's suppose I could give you examples of a car rental business. You would need a trade license, an office, a bank account for that. But for 180,000 dirhams, I think you don't have to spend $180,000 spot on. But I would say lease about 10, 15 cars for
Mm-hmm.
about 80 to, I think
Small
you get
ticket cars,
small
probably.
ticket cars, because they go on for something like, small ticket cars, when I talk about small tickets, about 35,000, 40,000
For a new
dirhams ticket
for a new
for
car.
a new car.
Yeah.
You just pay 20% of the bank, and bank gives you up. So for
But
something like,
as a new business, would the bank be able to give you such kind of leverage to?
if we
And
take,
also before that, if somebody is coming with $50,000, I would assume that they have some other amount set up already.
of
It's
course,
not the only net worth they are carrying.
of course, yeah,
Yeah.
but we're talking about, even with $50,000, I don't want them to spend
Yeah, yeah, of course,
all
of
on,
course, of course.
infrastructures. But they would need a cash flow, capital injection,
Hmm.
aside from what he's investing. So car rental is something you could set up for around good 25, $30,000, and keep $20,000 as an emergency money,
Hmm.
just to keep it. But just to give you a perspective on car rental business, a small car rental business would cost him around, with trade license and office, with around 5 or 6 small cars, something around uh, 25, $30,000.
Hmm.
He could get around 10 cars with that money. So 20% of 40,000 dirhams is around 8,000
Yeah.
dirhams,
Dirhams. Yeah.
right? If we get even 10 cars, right,
80,000 dirhams.
80,000 dirhams, the trade license would be around $10 to $12,000. Another miscellaneous cost would be around $10,000 with office space and everything. I
Hmm.
would suggest to go on to a shared space, not to buy an office first hand. You can do that.
Would you be able to do this in Dubai, or you have to be stay like based? Your business should be based in Sharjah for this kind of cost.
No, Dubai,
Dubai is fine. Okay.
Dubai is fine. You have, and you should have a good marketing cost and everything. With 10, 12 cars, you can just rent it out. Going a small car, monthly rentals, you can earn up to 15, 1600 dirhams. Multiply by that, by 10. So you have a revenue of around 160,000.
Hmm.
Sorry, 16,000 dirhams.
Hmm.
You save with everything around 7 to 8,000
Yeah,
dirhams to
the good
start
thing
with.
about Dubai is that it's very safe city, and the insurance cost of the cars is also less if you compare it with, let's say, a country like Canada. Because I've seen so huge. This is the cost of doing business.
Yeah,
If you talk about,
yeah.
so
Good
this,
part is when you actually buy these new cars, they give out 2 years free insurance and
yeah.
everything with that. But a question as to why would bank give a
Hmm.
new
Yeah, this is
company?
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think with the provision now, you're eligible to get that loan if you talk to the banks, and they're willing, because it's an asset control, collateral. So it's easier to get car loans as opposed to personal
Right.
loans.
Right.
So bank would sponsor you for
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Another business, a small business, would be a trading business. Just
Mm-hmm.
buy cell phones
Mm-hmm.
and sell them. You
Mm-hmm.
can import cell phones from US or any other country. I think that business is always
So this will be
flourishing.
B2C.
Yeah,
B2C.
B2C, and even B2B. You can just import, get it from eBay, and you have to do a lot of market research, obviously, before that. But the laptops
Hmm.
is another thing. We see a lot of Pakistanis and Indians going into
I've seen this.
Bangladeshi,
I've seen this. Yes.
opening laptop shops. You get
Yes.
lots from US for around
Hmm.
good $10,000,
Hmm.
and selling it around 18 or $15,000. Obviously, you need to do a lot of market research
Hmm.
for this. Um, but we need to understand Dubai before. Dubai itself is not a big market. But Dubai serves over 50 or 70 countries, 50 to
Hmm.
70 countries, which is EMEA as a region, from Saudi Arabia, GCC countries to North Africa and Africa. So it's a lot of African customers coming to Dubai. Central Asian customers coming to Dubai and buying it. You see, data markets, they're full of foreign customers. So you need to have that understanding before doing any sort of business. Another is the Uber Kareem model. I don't know if we could call it an active or a passive business, but it is a business. How to open a Uber Kareem? We need to understand this in Dubai. It's not like in US or in Pakistan or India. You just have a car and do it. So you would have a car which is not older than 3 years old. You go to basically a limousine company, which we call. You take a license from them for 1,500 dirhams.
1,500 dirhams.
1,500 dirhams a month. RTA, this plate. RTA is the Road Transport Authority, which is the regulatory authority in Dubai. Which does, and I only recommend Uber Kareem business in Dubai, not in any other cities, because of the tourist which we have in Dubai. So RTA tag regulation number plate, this limousine license 1,500 dirhams. RTA I think tag would cost you around 10,000 dirhams for that. A car would be, a Lexus, hybrid, or now a lot of people are investing in Teslas. So car would cost you around 140 to 180,000 dirhams.
Right.
Obviously, you lease that car. Then you would need to find drivers. Either you want to drive or somebody else want to drive, or you want to hire drivers. Would cost you another 30,000 dirhams with licenses and everything.
The challenge might be, what I was thinking is to hire the drivers. They should be trustable and I would say qualified.
I wouldn't say they would be trusted, because everybody here whom you is trusted because of the security things. But point is, there has to be competent. You give them targets. I know a lot of friends who have actually invested in this business, has been successful. So just to give you a perspective, when you come into an Uber business, there are two models in Dubai. If you're coming and you want to drive yourself, so there are companies in Dubai, limousine companies, which actually give you a car. But the downside is it's on their name, right? So you spend around up to 70,000 dirhams. There could be two partners. You can split that amount, 35,000 dirhams, and you can get a limo. You drive it yourself. You save around 5,000-6,000 dirhams each.
Okay, this model is on top of the Uber Kareem, because you're not let's say renting out your car to Uber or Kareem, but you're making your own limousine company.
Yeah, you're actually hiring it. You're getting the car from a limousine company.
Okay.
The car would be on your name as an asset. The limousine company would guarantee the bank to get the car on your name.
Okay.
So technically the car would be on limousine and your name.
Okay.
And you'd be splitting the cost. So, but it's 70,000 dirhams for a car where you are driving, and so you save around 5,000 to 6,000. If you have your own car, then you'd be saving. So a limousine, from my perspective, I've actually seen people with dashboards. So on two drivers, somebody drives a limo when we say limo, a Lexus or a Uber Kareem in Dubai. The everyday sale is around something in good times around 900 dirhams to 1,000 dirhams
for a day.
For a day.
Yes.
And for something, if on an off season, around 600 or 500.
This is on once the car is on Uber or Kareem network.
And Uber and Kareem network only, right?
Okay.
And so the revenue goes up to from 24,000 dirhams a month to around 30,000 dirhams. Right. So if you own a car, your cost with petrol and driver would be not less than around 10,000. Dirhams. So you save around 20,000 dirhams a month if you have this your own car, or even in bad times around 10 to 11,000 dirhams if somebody else is driving it, right? And you have it. So that is a very feasible
That is when you own the car.
That is when you own
So
the car.
your investment is already done for the car.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
say a
investment
full investment of 180,000
is
dirhams for one
done.
car,
So if you don't own the car,
and
so
you do it on lease.
the car rental, so you have to pay around 7 to 8 thousand dirhams, depending on the car finance side.
Right.
Then RTA fees. So your spending is with drivers around something like 12 to 14,000 dirhams.
Okay.
If your revenue is 30,000 dirhams, you subtract that. So you split around 14,000 dirhams between two drivers.
Okay.
If you don't own that, right?
Okay.
So even in worse times, so this is there are two models working in Dubai. So with $50,000, you have obviously options. You can set up a laundry. You can set up,
Yeah. So
things.
maybe once we delve into, let's say, 100,000 dirhams model, maybe some of them can be accommodated with 50,000 as well. So let's talk about 100,000. If somebody is having $100,000,
Now, $100,000 is around close to around 400,000 dirhams, about 380,000.
so we can use the same business models as well that
Obviously, with that, but you can add. I don't know why people don't invest in pharmacies or big social media firms. Yeah, I think a lot of people are doing social media digital marketing in Dubai. But yeah, one part is, so again, for our viewers, we need to understand Dubai. What sells in Dubai? Real estate sells in Dubai.
Right.
We have a $3 billion. We have a three
Sale.
billion dollar
Sale.
a sale a month, right? And the second biggest thing is tourism.
Right.
So we have to align our businesses according to these two things. So you're talking about a $5 billion a month transactions, tourism, leisure, real estate. If you build, your business around these two verticals, I think you'd be more successful. So let's talk about
Tourism and trading.
tourism, trading, and real estate.
Real estate. Okay.
Right? That's the two things which sells. I think so. Anything aligned to that. So let's suppose in tourism we could have, we've discussed Uber Kareem, because there are a lot of tourists who don't own the car, rent the car businesses.
Yeah.
Right. Another part is going into small. Airbnb is back. Wali, as you personally know, I actually own some apartments which we Airbnb. It's extremely profitable. There are over 50 to 55,000 Airbnb apartments in.
So this is the number.
Yeah,
Okay.
number in
50 to
Dubai.
50.
55,000
Okay.
listings in Dubai. How to do an Airbnb Dubai? There are two models. You can just rent and sublet it, right? But for that you need a landlord's NOC for that. You can have your own apartment. So let's suppose anybody who come up with something like 50,000, 380,000 dirhams. So he could actually sublet two apartments for 100,000.
So they should make a real estate company.
No.
Okay.
They take let's suppose an apartment in a one bedroom. I always say.
Okay, they buy the apartment, or let's say they lease an apartment.
They lease an apartment.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I would always say invest less and then understand the business and then grow. But let's suppose if somebody who wants to I always recommend renting a one bedroom apartment instead of two. So Marina is number one selling, or JVC is number three
in
or
terms
four.
of Airbnb.
Airbnb. So you have to look at property which is central, which has anything, a subway close to it or a taxi stand close to it. You get that apartment for, let's suppose, about 65,000 dirhams per annum, right? You don't spend 65,000. You just pay the 3 or 4 months rentals. You furnish that apartment. And now, for something I could give you real facts on Marina or Business Bay or something like that, you can could rent a single bedroom apartment in a season. When I say season, starts from October to March or February.
Right.
It goes down to something like a bedroom costs one bedroom would cost you something like 450 to 500 dirhams per night. Now we calculate over 250 days. for this. So you'd multiply. So you would earn around about 110, 120,000 dirhams just to rent out that apartment. You minus the rent with other things, so still you'll be saving around 12,000 dollars by spending roughly half of that in Dubai. You multiply 3 or 4 times, so you would have a income.
Right.
It is a difficult thing, obviously, to do.
So
to
you're
start with.
saying, let's say if I have 100,000, so almost 380,000 dirhams. So minus my some of the expenses that I might incur personally. Let's talk about 300,000 dirhams that I have disposable, or 320,000 dirhams that are disposable for a year. To start with, for the Airbnb model, how many properties should I aim for in this amount?
For 300, for so let's suppose if you want to go with the sub rental
Yeah,
and rental,
yeah.
so I think start with two,
Hmm.
then grow with something like 60,000. You pay what?
You have to take the license
Yes,
for subletting.
yes. So we there's a Dubai, not a license but an NOC from the landlord
Yes.
to do it.
And that
They
building
live.
should be also compatible for Airbnb, something like that as well, or
I think Imar doesn't allow it. Every other building in
okay,
Dubai
okay,
allows that. I think the number two part is, of course, you have to register with the Dubai Short Rentals Department, which is
okay,
tourism. This is a $1,500-$1,600
right.
dirhams fee.
One thing
Fee.
I like about Dubai now, earlier, even with my this social media thing, I just came to know that this license cost is only now around 1,200 to 1,300 dirhams
Yeah, yeah,
per year,
yeah, yeah.
which was earlier a nightmare. Like it was costing me around 15,000 dirhams per year,
Yeah.
just like maybe a couple of years back.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have changed a lot. These
Good
licensing
part
costs,
about Dubai is Dubai learns, unlearns, learns, and unlearns. So
yes,
they don't make mistakes twice.
yeah,
They learn from their mistakes, and not just rectify it, but make it better, and for them to understand, because they have understood. The more people come to Dubai, they make business easy for people. They will invest in Dubai, and that's how Dubai is
yeah,
made. I
yeah.
think full
License is
credits.
only for the regulatory paperwork, I guess. Otherwise, the actual money will be made through the business that
Of
is going to
course, and
happen.
and the part is so this is so let's suppose somebody who wants to mortgage and buy its own property for somebody who has 300,000,
Mm-hmm.
he could buy three properties,
Hmm.
right?
With leverage,
With
yes.
leverage, and in anywhere, and start earning that minus mortgage, you'd still be saving about good 30
Hmm.
$40,000
Hmm.
disposable income per annum
But
from these
having said that,
businesses.
you should still have emergency funds with you and some extra headroom so that in case anything happens, because there is a seasonality element as well with Dubai. So there is a possibility. What do you say? Let's say if somebody is coming, when should they come, or anytime is okay? Because I can see holiday home or rent, this Airbnb business also is seasonal, not all the time, like
I
in
don't say
summers.
no, 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 I think that's a misconception now,
Okay.
because I'm talking as a Airbnb owner myself.
Yeah.
I see bookings in July. I
Oh,
see
okay.
bookings in Ramzan. I just had a call yesterday from Saudi at 4.
Hmm.
There's a customer who wants to come in July. But point is, so there would always be a market for that. I think people, there's always conferences going on in Dubai. There's always people coming in Dubai, and they want, and we need to understand why people are doing Airbnb, because they're fed up of hotels, right?
Hmm.
Privacy issues and everything. So they're easier for them to buy, to get a Airbnb, get that privacy.
Hmm.
They could come and cook themselves or whatever.
Hmm.
Other concerns a lot of people ask me as to why. Are there any security concerns? We've done so many bookings from last 2 3 years. We haven't seen a single problem.
Hmm.
Once there was a glass broken for about $50, 50 dirhams, and didn't bother. I think we didn't had a customer who was a bad customer. But obviously, there would be people who would be making problems, but Airbnb covers that for the
So,
landlord.
let's say if we talk about two properties and somebody is doing their Airbnb, of course their scale would be less. I mean, the smaller scale. So, do they have to hire someone to look after the property, or they should do it themselves?
So Airbnb rentals, there are rental. when you charge a Airbnb rental,
Mm-hmm.
there's a provision that you can charge a cleaning fee. So a lot
Okay.
of people play with that. So they keep a rental
Yeah.
car, which is low. But let's suppose on a realistic, if you're renting out around 500 dirhams, you keep for every 2 days 150 dirhams, cleaning fee,
Hmm.
or for 5 days cleaning fee. Just call a cleaning company would charge you 120 dirhams or 100 dirhams.
And now
They
I've
will
seen,
clean.
by the way, I do a lot of real estate videos nowadays. So I've seen that a new offline properties, or the ones which are coming up now, they are Airbnb ready already, because they've got this Wi-Fi setup, they've got this locks which are
Yeah,
iris scan, and so these things are already built up into the
it's already,
properties.
you don't have to be there welcoming
Yeah,
every
yeah,
customer
yeah.
and everything. There are people, and there are management companies who manage
Hmm.
your everything for around 5% in Dubai.
Right.
Your homes to everything. You can outsource the whole operation to management companies, which charge around 5 to 12% depending on what kind of services you want. It keeps your headache low. And they have already customers, so they're in charge of booking and managing everything. Money
Great.
goes into your account. Other aspect, so we need to align whatever business we do close to these two industries. I always say,
Hmm.
I wouldn't recommend opening a restaurant in Dubai,
Hmm.
because I've seen restaurant 10 out of statistics. I wanted to. I've opened restaurants personally.
Hmm.
It's one of the most toughest jobs is to run in a restaurant. It looks so easy, but you're dependent on other people. Statistically, 10 out of 9 restaurants close uh, within 2 years
Hmm.
of operations. 7 out of 10 restaurants closes within 1 year
Hmm.
operation.
Hmm.
So this is a very, I wouldn't recommend anyone, unless it's a very niche cooking, or something
Cuisine
like
or
that,
something like,
cuisine
yeah,
or
yeah,
something, and you are you have that control.
yeah.
Because unfortunately the rents are expensive in Dubai.
Hmm.
So you have to look at that rental part. Um, I strongly recommend. We will talk about it, but restaurant is a no place. So anything aligned to, again, real estate, you can open a cleaning company. Why not? You
Hmm.
can providing management to Airbnb companies, right? What it would cost you, less than 20,000 dirhams. You can open trading, cleaning company, car rental company, a service-based tourism guide company,
Hmm.
right? You can have a proper job and can have a passive income from these companies. But you have to be careful. I would say, always wait, research, do research, go into partnerships as starters, and then break away from
Yeah, yeah,
partnerships
yeah.
later. But
This is
you
important.
take your risks down
Right,
as well.
right. So, so this is, we talked about 100,000 dirhams, and it
hundred
makes,
thousand dollars, yeah.
sorry, dollars, yes, and it makes sense about the things that you've mentioned. Let's say, and by the way, we are going to also, all these things you've mentioned, we can do at the same time if somebody is
Wali,
doing the
Dubai is a
job.
place where you can do business with $100 million,
Yeah, yeah,
500 billion
yeah.
dollars.
But
But
my
let's suppose
point,
anybody, yeah,
my point was that if somebody is doing job as well, not coming directly on through from the scratch, they can also do the same thing. If somebody is already working here and want to have some side hustles, they can do the same kind of businesses that you've just mentioned,
yeah, of course.
because you don't need any compulsion or any NOC now from your employer. Sometime it
And
does.
there's a new provision in Dubai,
Hmm.
which actually allows you to work part time now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you just need to have a labor card, which is different, which gives on a part time. You just need an NOC from your existing
Hmm.
line of business or
Hmm.
where you work.
Hmm.
They give you an NOC to work.
Hmm.
As a part time business, you can start any time in Dubai.
And by the way, if you have a privilege to get the golden visa, then you even don't need the NOC from the company, because your visa is
Yeah,
completely separate. You're
yeah.
working with 9 to 5 in a company, and then you can start another business just because your visa is completely different. You don't need any NOC, anything from.
And congratulations on getting the golden visa
Thank you very
recently
much.
as
Thank
well.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, golden visa has been a liberating mindset for me, because I can do a lot of things, think about lot of things. For
So
let's
how would it, so being a journalist now,
Yeah.
asking your question, how has Golden Visa helped you?
Yeah, so so see, the company I'm working in right now, they don't impose anything on me right as of now. But starting a new business always had something in my back of the mind that maybe I need the NOC and even the social media that I'm doing, although everybody knows about it. But at the same time, I was thinking, let's say if I have to take, because at some point now I need the license, because a lot of brands that I'm working with, they were asking for the license. And for the license, normally, like a couple of years back, you would need an NOC from your company, and then you would apply for that license. Only then you can get the license. But because even earlier I had one of the business that I opened, but I then closed, not in loss, but at least I was not able to give my full attention to it. At that time also I needed an NOC from my company to start the business. But things have changed drastically in last 3 years or 2 years. So now,
For your viewers, if you want to open a company in Dubai, just we're just dumping it down. So anybody, for your information, anybody comes to Dubai, even wants to open a laundry or a pest infection business, to a social media company, at an hospital, they need a trading license.
yes, yes.
Um, Now, trading licenses are of two categories, right? There is a free zone licenses and the inland licenses.
Hmm.
um, Inland licenses, obviously, for businesses you want to do inland. Free zone licenses, normally for business you do out of land, from export promotion zones, or
Hmm.
from places like Jabal Ali, or anything for export or import based businesses.
Yeah, yeah.
um, Something like digital marketing trade license would cost you around 3 to 4 thousand dirhams. The licenses cost has significantly gone down. I was seeing Rasul Khaima
Russell Khama free
doing a
zone.
lifetime
Really?
license,
Really?
for a lifetime visa,
Hmm.
with licenses and everything. So there's a lot of options here.
Hmm.
The visa
So can
cost.
can
Yeah,
you delve into this? Okay, just finishing off with
yeah,
this golden visa first, and then we'll come into
yeah.
this license thing. So golden visa give me liberation now, because now I don't have to, because now my visa is my own.
Mhm.
My family members are also sponsored by myself, and my 9 to 5 job is already as before, and I just needed the work permit to work with my company, which is already in place. If I want to start a new business, I don't need an NOC from my company, existing company, except for the fact that, let's say, if I'm doing some kind of business which is conflicting with my 9 to 5, then it's a different case, which is not the case what I'm doing right now. Otherwise, you don't need any NOC kind of thing from existing employer. So for me, it's liberating that I can even start the third business, fourth business,
And it gives
fifth.
you a confidence as
Exactly,
such, right?
exactly.
Obviously, for your viewers, to get golden visa, this is a 10 years golden visa,
Yeah.
right? And renewable every 10 years.
Hmm.
What's the cost of it?
So cost of it will depend on your criteria, but the cost itself is maximum 4,000 to 4,500 dirhams, depending on your situation. The criteria to get the golden visa is different for
Yeah, yeah,
everybody. So
everybody. So
if someone is having 30,000 plus salary, it can easily get the golden visa as of now, because these laws changes as well. So if somebody is already having 30,000 plus salary, they should apply for it. They'll get 10 years golden visa.
So anybody who has a 30,000 plus salary gets a golden visa. Anybody who invests 2 million now, 1 million,
It's 1 million, right?
1 million
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
who could split properties and get eligible for golden visa. Anybody who's an exceptional talent, has done, we've got our friends Daniel
Yeah, yeah.
and
Social media
Mani has
influencer,
got,
yes.
yeah, social media influencers, to doctors,
Hmm.
healthcare professionals,
Even
like
engineers,
engineers, yeah.
even engineers with they
Exceptional talents, right? They
no,
call
even
it.
engineers with they have one more thing now on top of, because in my office there are some people who are in process of doing it. If they have equivalency certificate from the higher education
Yeah,
commission here in the UAE,
UAE.
it's not the same as certifying the degree. It's a different thing. It's equivalency degree. So if
Yeah.
you get that, and if you prove some paperwork, there is an agency the government has hired to vet these kind of cases. So you can get that as well. Doctors, of course, since COVID
Yeah.
started, they have been,
Doctors, pharmacists, and everything.
yeah.
And,
Even just to plug in, because there are platforms like Smart Crowd. They if you want to invest through my referral code, you can get 250 dirhams of referral bonus with those platforms as well, because those platforms allow you to invest in the properties. Let's say if you don't want to invest in one property, you can invest in multiple
Multiple
properties.
properties.
Let's say 10 properties, and then if the total amount approaches, I believe 2 million, but if you're saying 1 million, it has changed, so it's very good.
It has changed now. So Dubai keeps on changing. It's actually one good part about Dubai is that they're making it easier for people, not difficult. So full thumbs up to the leadership of this
Yeah,
country.
yeah.
For
So we discussed about this golden visa.
another aspect of golden visa. A lot
Yeah.
of people, I have friends who consider coming on to Dubai, working here as a as a temporary resident.
Okay.
They work here and they want to go to Canada or America or Australia because it's easier to get a visa.
Yeah.
Now, there's always been a debate, but at the same time, if you look at real estate numbers, a lot of Britishers and Australians and the French are coming back to Dubai. I've seen people who's actually left UK, Australia, and everything. They're coming to Dubai to work. Um, so this golden visa versus because the only downside which we see is that expat who works like 20, 30 years don't has to go back home. That's why we have a retirement golden visa as well,
Yeah.
right? You can spend your life here in Dubai, and I personally think if we really invest in low cost healthcare in Dubai, Dubai would shoot. So I'm
Yes.
talking
This
about
is the only. This is the
that's the
only flip side. Yes.
only flip side, low cost healthcare. They have quality healthcare, and it's understanding that
Yeah.
healthcare is expensive.
Yeah.
If we somehow click that market of giving right maybe about 10-15% more than healthcare to elderly in Dubai. Dubai would shoot again. Dubai is here and here to stay. A lot of people actually thinks about 2008 or 9 recession in property, and that happened anywhere and happened everywhere. It could happen anywhere in the world. Dubai has gone stronger on that in terms of regulations, regulatory controls. I think the kind of regulatory controls and security in Dubai right now, it's pretty better than most of the so-called first world countries. So in terms of coming and staying here, I always say obviously, let's suppose if you want to come here and want to apply for Canadian immigration or Australian immigration or any American
Visa. Let's say visit
visa or something. So a lot of people do get this ask me this how to get those, and it's a very hot topic, Shenzhen visas and everything. So for that, obviously the visa ratios and rejection ratios as opposed to India, Pakistan, and it's very low in UAE. First, the embassies. The only thing you have to prove. So I know people who has a salary of 4,000 or 5,000 dirhams have got an American 5-year visa or a Canadian 5 years or 10 years visa. For Indians, they get about 10 years visa as opposed to Pakistanis. Uh, but they have this program, so they have low visa cases. So all you have to do is to prove that you have money in the account, and the visas you get, pretty easily in Dubai. So Dubai gives you that access to the rest of the world as
Plus,
being a resident.
yeah,
of
being a
course.
resident. Plus, now that GCC countries are also unifying all the
Maybe a
visas,
one visa.
so you have one visa. If you're a resident here, you can go to Saudi, you can go to Oman, anywhere. Oman was already easier. Kuwait is also accessible for, especially for Pakistanis, because they don't have this. They have issues with the Pakistani visas.
And Wali, I personally think Dubai has so much potential and so much things, and the so being a very liberal person, as I religion to me is obviously a very personal subject, but I'm a liberal by education, being as a human. So is my wife. We opted Dubai uh, for its liberal approach. So Dubai to me is somewhere obviously I could a the my child could have this liberty to learn evolution. Um, or learn spirituality, or interact with a Hindu or a Jew or somebody from any other religion without being hurtful. So Dubai gives you that multicultural, multilingual approach, broaden your perspective with decency, which you don't get in most of the Western countries,
And security as well.
and security, of course. And other part is it keeps them away from from the. So I'm most of a person who is culturally Muslim than religiously Muslim. So Dubai is perfect for us, and Dubai gives us that lifestyle which we want to live.
Yeah, and nobody would question you anything
Of
about.
course, it doesn't. Obviously, Dubai has a pretty. You can't have a political or any other thing in Dubai, which is their way, and we need to respect that. And average Emirati I talk to is very liberated. The new generation, you need to talk to them. They talk. Like the coffee houses are full. We could talk intellect. We could talk about the world. They are pretty much aware of what's happening around. They want to keep all the bad guys away. They have a very strict visa policy now, which is right. The newer generation is educated, westernized, not westernized, but I would say they're Western educated, but they've applied
their own values as well.
their own values. They love wearing their own jubbas than jeans or a t-shirt. So they're not westernized, but they have this sense that we're Amaratis, and this is our country, and accepted that the expats who came are here to improve our country.
Yeah.
Right. So the respect for expats in Dubai is amazing.
Yeah,
Right.
which is I think a misconcept around the world who
Yeah.
haven't been to Dubai, because I was having a consultancy call 2 days back, and this guy was contemplating on moving to Dubai, and his last question was that what about roads? Are they having road rages on the roads, and the Marathis might say you anything that you and they can get away with that? I said no, the law is same for everybody. So if a Marathi or an expat or anybody XYZ Westerner or anybody who does swearing on road or anything like that, they cannot get away with that. So the law is equal. That's the best part. So okay, you cannot make as much money, although that is also a myth now. But yes, the government helps Emiratis a lot. But in
They
terms
should.
of
They
yeah, they
should. They
should.
should.
But at the same time, the law does not distinguish between Emirati and an expat. If anything bad happens on the road, uh, any nationality will be held accountable the same way. Let's say a Pakistani or Indian will be held accountable for same before Emirati or any Western expat. So that is a good part about Dubai. We broke at that time about this was about the golden visa and all the
Yeah.
things, and the good parts and pros and cons of visas as well. But we broke away at this the types of licenses, the
Yeah.
free
Yeah.
zones
Yeah.
and
Let's
the
talk about that.
yeah.
Yeah. So, trade license is a license which a government authority gives you
Yeah.
to do licenses. Now,
Okay.
it comes into categories. If you want to have a hospital, you have a different trade license. You want to go into a service industry, you have a service license, trading license, and all trading license, and journal trading licenses. So you have those hundreds of categories if you want, and these are specialized categories. So go into computer and laptops, they give you computer and principal aligned licenses. You have a mainland license and offline licenses, free zone licenses.
Right.
The free zone licenses previously had this 3 years visa,
Okay.
which was finished. So they are actually giving 2 years license. So let's suppose if you want to form a company in Dubai, let's suppose a computer business, you have to get a trade license. Now, I would recommend, coming from my experiences, because I've done a lot of bad mistakes I didn't knew, and so I learned from it. I want to tell you, always get a trade license from the mainland in Dubai. So you have this government of Dubai's offices where you can just go and apply. They have this offer, until you finish your Dubai cafe, finish your coffee, they'll give you a
Yeah.
instant license.
Yes.
And instant license would cost you like 12,000 dirhams a year. But the good part about it, you don't have to have an office for first year. So second year, you would need an office. But I always recommend, get a add 2,000 more and get a license and open an office. I've seen you know people who've got a license but they have difficulty opening a bank account now. So always confirm with your banks what kind of business you do before getting into buying a license.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That is a mistake I've done, and we suffered a year for this, right? But always consult your bank before opening a trade license. It has to be aligned. Coming from anywhere, India, Pakistan, to opening a bank account too is very mandatory part of it. You have to have, so let's suppose if you bring cash, you should have a rationale or some sort of a
Proof.
backup proof,
Hmm.
because Dubai is very rigid on compliances and anti-money laundering compliances
Right.
with that. So if you have a bank account, let's say in India and Pakistan, you should have a 6 months bank statement. If you're a business, you should have a business number and company profile and a business bank account with 6 months history.
Right.
To prove that you had that money or you had that business.
Right.
To make it a profile. Banks, you can open personal accounts easily through an app here, but for business accounts it's getting difficult, because with compliances and everything goes up. I think Mashreq new account and
I think Vio Bank also has started
yeah,
offering the.
yeah. There are a lot of banks which are business friendly. Mashreq, I recommend, no sponsorships, but Mashreq Neo is doing some good work. Fab is doing some good work. So there are 2 3 banks which are very active in helping businesses. Again, always talk to banks
Before going for the.
before going to the trade license.
Okay. Okay.
So you have this multiple trade licenses which you can choose from. Then for the visas, right?
Before like licenses, okay. What about the free zone and the mainland license? What are the main differences between these two kind of licenses?
With free zone license, you have to keep your company inside the free zone areas.
The activity, all the
We
activities should
need
be
to
in.
understand what free zone is. Free zone is, of course, areas which is not technically not part of mainland UAE, but are free zones for where you can import and export. Anything you bring out from free zone, you have to give a VAT and a custom fee.
Okay.
So let's suppose you import a computer into free zone company and bring back, if a computer is $100, you have to pay 5 plus 6%. So 6% to get it out.
Okay.
To mainland.
So in case someone is doing trading, then and they establish their business in free zone,
yeah.
And they just rotate the inventory within, let's say somebody is getting laptops from US.
So I'll give you a real life example, right? So you bring stock from US into a free zone.
Right.
There are companies which stock you. You don't have to have a warehouse there. You can stock those equipments, right? You get an order from Nigeria or for 100 laptops. You just, from a click of a button, DHL goes into that free zone and exports that from the free zone.
Right.
Let's suppose you've got an order inside Dubai.
Right.
No problems. You have to bring those laptops outside. To bringing that outside would cost you 6%. This is how.
This is not VAT. This is
5% VAT and
Okay.
1% custom duty on hardware.
Okay.
Yeah, this is how it works.
Okay. So if you're selling that across mainland UAE, then you have to pay 6%, let's say, tax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you're just trading, then you don't have to do
You don't
anything.
have to do.
Okay.
Anything which is import to export
Mm-hmm.
is generally VAT free. Anything which is import to, obviously, to be sold here in the market is VAT is applied.
And what about services? If that is the case,
Services are VAT. VAT is applied on services.
Okay, if you're having
And to register, the rules for registering VAT, I think I'm not an expert on it. I know you just pay around 200, 300, 400 dirhams to register VAT. There are companies who would do it, and you have to file VAT every quarter. You get VAT returns as well. The rule generally is, if you do, and I think anything above 350,000 dirhams a year, you are eligible for VAT.
Right.
right, in UAE.
Okay, okay, good.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is good that if somebody need to know, and what is the cost difference? Any idea about cost difference between the free zone and the mainland license?
So yes, that's a very good question. The cost, I think the cost for free zone comes out to be more yeah, for the first year the free zone would be cheaper,
Cheaper.
but for the second third years would be more expensive. So I don't think, I wouldn't prefer, opening a free zone company
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to mainland, because you're here in Dubai, you want to do business, you can always export anything, but just open with a mainland company, you get more visa provisions. So let's suppose you have an office, you can expand your businesses, you can do that there, but be more difficult as opposed to
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
know
You're
doing
right.
it.
The because I interact with people who are mostly working online, and they don't have any immediate requirement to sell their services within the UAE, because there are a lot of people who are coming into UAE and setting up their own businesses, and just for the bank accounts and stuff. For those people, sometimes free zone makes sense because
Yeah,
they don't have to sell their services within the UAE. But later on, if their business expand, then they can
even for those people who coming out, they can apply for a
mainland freelance
freelance
visa.
visa.
Yeah, yeah.
For that, they don't have to open a
Open a company.
company.
Yes, 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 yes.
They can just open a get a freelance visa. Now the visa cost, we need to understand, it costs for one person
Mm-hmm.
around 6,500 to 7,500 dirhams
Mm-hmm.
for the cost of visa.
Mm.
Then you have to apply insurance and everything. So we need to keep in mind the numbers. About 7 to 8,000 dirhams is the
Mm.
cost of visa.
Right, right. Okay. Now we actually started our
Yeah.
conversation with 50,000 dirhams, dollars, and $100,000, and we discuss a lot of businesses which are possible in that range. Let's talk about someone who's bringing in $500,000 dollars of cash, or let's say funds, into UAE to start a business. What kind of options do they have on top of what we have
So
already discussed?
500,000 is around something like 1.7 million
Yes.
dirhams, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
1.8 million dirhams. So all these businesses which we discussed applies already on that business, from Airbnb model to uh, Uber model, or car rental models and everything. But I always say, I encourage people to go into pharmacies.
Yeah, this is what I was.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So pharmacies is one part. So for pharmacists as well. So if you're a pharmacist, it helps. But the law for opening a pharmacy is that you have to have a pharmacist, obviously anywhere.
Hmm.
So it has to be MOH, Ministry for Health, which is the regulator here. You have to license
Hmm.
pharmacist to open that pharmacy. But normally you open a space, a pharmacy, a minimum would cost around 500,000 dirhams to 700,000 dirhams. It has a good payback period of around 1.5 2 years. Um, for good part is opening pharmacy. I always recommend, look out for, there's a lot of pharmacies for sale in Dubai.
Okay.
There are people who specializes opening up and selling those things.
Okay.
So you can always look into them, because you don't know the pharmacy
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
The merrier the better. You should have more stock
Mm-hmm.
in pharmacy. The game is insurance. If you have that deep pockets to give that credit for 2 months to
Right,
to the patients,
right,
and get that money from insurance. Uh,
right.
yeah, so the margins are very good. I think gross about 30-35%
So,
margin.
so you can just carry on what you're saying, but I have some observations for pharmacy business. First of all, I have seen a lot of, in Dubai and Sharjah both. I have seen a lot of restaurants coming up and going away within a couple of years or
Yeah,
1 year. But pharmacies are there to stay,
stay.
and I've seen they are already always. I've seen a lot of pharmacies, and they are propping up like barber shops.
Yeah,
So first of all, I don't understand what is the business model behind a normal pharmacy. That you've mentioned one of the thing, that the insurance is something which can give some
yeah,
leeway.
leverage here.
Yeah. What else, like business? What is the exact business model of pharmacy in Dubai? How it is working? And as you said, the amount required to operate and establish a pharmacy is higher. Apart from that, what is the licensing? Because you need to be a
So you,
pharmacist
you
yourself.
no. You don't have to be a pharmacist yourself. So you
Okay.
just need a trade license to start with. Obviously, for
Okay.
any business, which costs around 15 to 16,000. Ministry for health approvals and everything. So you keep that around 20,000 dirhams.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want a good shop which is located between good commercial residential buildings and everything. You need to look for the right spot, low competition areas.
Mm-hmm.
The third is, of course, you can obviously, the third part is you need to hire a pharmacist. Pharmacist would cost you something like 3,500 to 6,000 dirhams.
Mm-hmm.
For head pharmacist and pharmacist assistants, around 2,500 to 3,000 in retail. So we need to have two pharmacists for, because it's a 12-hour shift,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to have a rider, two riders to deliver, because in Dubai you need to deliver
Yes.
everything from
Yeah.
chai wala to
Yes.
shirt to everything.
Yeah.
So you had 4 or 5 people working staff
Mm-hmm.
for that, and then the biggest cost is not the shelving and everything, it's
Inventory cost.
inventory is the big cost, and so from obviously the more the merrier. It would start from 100,000 dirhams to million dirhams, but generally the idea is around 250,000 dirham stock
Mm-hmm.
is something minimum which you have to carry. Now the rotation part is around, it gives you a 30%, 25-30% gross
Mm-hmm.
sales. So if you're
So you're
if you're
saying that
selling
if
it,
if a medicine is for 100,000 100 dirhams, you're saying that the
not all medicine,
yeah,
not all, it depends on different things. If you know
the fast moving
the
are
fast movings are, gives you less, but the other ones do that. But generally, if you sell around 100,000 dirhams, you get 30,000 dirhams
profit.
gross profit, right?
Gross profit means the inventory, the profit on the inventory.
No. Gross profit means now you have to pay rents
Okay.
and cover the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
costs, and
yeah.
net profit is so you worked around to be around 12 to 15,000 dirhams. So generally, a pharmacy sale is around depending on everything. So it's around, it's a good lucrative business to
Mm-hmm.
be in. It's a long term business to be in, and it's a very specialized field. Obviously, it's not a business for everybody, but it's a very specialized field
Hmm.
to do business. I've never seen a person who's opened a pharmacy has not opened another pharmacy,
Really? Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I've seen these are not branded pharmacies, but still I can see one pharmacy is here, and then the four buildings away you can see another
So
same
they
same.
keep that opening up smaller entities because of the stocks. Because once you're into it, after 3 or 4 months or 6 months, you tend to get credits, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So your money goes out.
So how does this insurance industry work with the pharmacies? Normally I've seen earlier, maybe 4 or 5 years back, the normal regular pharmacies does not link with the insurance companies. But now I think because they have their bread and butter with the because insurance is very lucrative business here, and if you're not associated with an insurance
And
provider,
understand, and the medicines are expensive.
expensive, and most of the people won't buy on their own cash the
Of course.
medicines if they have the insurance. So why should we go to the pharmacy? But as now they are connected with the insurance, probably that is the reason they are also getting the business,
Yeah, of
the
course,
pharmacies. Okay.
of course. Yeah.
Okay, so pharmacy is one of the business. Anything else in that domain? And then
Real
real estate.
estate. I
Yeah.
think real estate agency would cost you something like around 100,000 dirhams to start with,
Mm-hmm.
right? With agents and infrastructures and licensing and everything. The biggest cost would be to market it, right, and to get that inventory to you and sell it. But it obviously $3 billion
Mm-hmm.
a month market.
You must have some part of cake.
Yeah, you should have that. Any proportion of the cake, which it's a very profitable business.
Hmm.
For anybody who opens a real estate agency, some of my very close friends just opened it.
Hmm.
Their cost was around 250,000 dirhams. One of the mistakes they did was, of
Mm-hmm.
course, to hire unprofessional real estate agents. So, against my advice, and not and they didn't spend much on marketing. But they've learned, and they're undoing the mistakes. But what's happening right now is, of course, so anybody who wants to come into real estate, has to understand that obviously it's a very difficult business to be in,
Mm-hmm.
but the rewards are very high.
Hmm.
You get a 5%, selling commission, which is split between the agency and yourself.
Hmm.
So always, if you are hiring new people, then spend, your marketing spends on email marketing to digital marketing should be very high, or video making
Hmm.
should be very high. You should have that investments, and always tell them to have a multilingual
Staff.
staff as records. So number one buyer right now are the Russians.
Hmm.
Number two are the British. Now these are not just normal British who are coming to Dubai. So the number three, the Indians, or number of 6 7 are the Pakistanis. So should have that people accordingly
Hmm.
in your real estate,
Hmm.
and always have a good team leader who is experienced. You have to hire that for 15 20
And I
thousand.
believe if you're starting a real estate agency, it's better to have your experience yourself as well before you delve
For
into.
any business you want to
Yeah.
do it, but obviously we are talking about anybody who comes with that kind of money, who doesn't have an experience, who want to do it. So obviously you can hire somebody who's experienced to run as a director sales, or a general manager sales position,
Hmm.
who will run it for you. But obviously you have to have that basic understanding of what's happening in Dubai. Should have numbers. You should, obviously there's a real estate course which
Hmm.
you have to do
Become an agent as well.
to become an engineer. I recommend doing it yourself. But yeah, that is one thing which we could do, and to run.
Okay. So then, in that case, we have touched a lot of industries. Is there anything left for $1 million? Let's say if somebody is carrying, let's say 3.7, 3.8 million dirhams.
Hoteling, right?
Okay.
They could open their own, mini hotel,
Okay.
lease the place out, make it, prove it would cost them 1.5, 1.6 million dollars, but a decent, 40, 50 a rooms place, he could lease it out and do it. Other options, they go into engineering or specialized services.
Mhm.
If you're, you can give out, support to different agencies here with that money. Another aspect is you can start your own transport business. Now, a lot of people are unfamiliar with this, but you see the big yellow school buses here.
Mhm.
They're normally owned by
One group.
group one people who actually do a contract with schools, or there are cranes, or there are that sort of a heavy machinery rental business which is always there.
Hmm.
There is a business where you can buy out cars which are old, and make them you know flashy and sell them from auctions. So there are businesses. I'm talking about smaller business. I could go on to talk
Yeah.
about business, but I'm talking about business which are doable.
Yeah,
Right.
one thing I've noticed that you haven't mentioned first is that restaurant. Of course, it's a no-go area, especially if you don't know anything about it and you just want to have a gut feeling.
Unless you're a chef yourself.
Yes. And there is another business aspect which is spread across all the buildings itself is the grocery business.
Yeah.
But I believe you haven't touched it because I feel that it is very competitive as well, and it's very difficult to mark your thing in such kind of
It
competition.
is a very competitive business. It's a very time consuming business, so I wouldn't recommend, unless it's still very unorganized in Dubai. So I would want you guys to stay away.
Very low margin as well.
Low margins as well.
Yeah.
I want your life moving into a new country to be peaceful.
And but you've mentioned laundry at the same time. So how is it better than the grocery business?
Because you don't have to be, you can hire somebody.
Okay.
It's an easy business to do,
Hmm.
with a lot of dependency on machines, not people.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
So make
Yeah,
it more
grocery is very manual.
very manual,
Yeah.
right, and time consuming. So this is another small business, but I see a lot of you see a lot of the delivery riders.
Hmm.
So you can form one company and hire those people, and then give out the outsourced human capital to could be janitors or could be riders to Talabat to everything.
Known. Hmm.
So I have friends who have this small companies who have a pool of 200, 300 people. They outsource their services, riders to Talabat or delivery riders to Uber Eats and everything. So what happens is the Talabat pays them their salary or the commissions, and they take out certain percentage and give out to the others. It's a very profitable business. It's a
Yeah.
very growing business. Outsourcing, human outsourcing business, which is
Yeah,
very
and that can be if you have good connections. The outsourcing business for the human capital even goes to the company I'm working with. They have a lot of high-paying
yeah
individuals on the third-party payrolls.
yeah.
Even people I know, 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 dirhams per month salaries are also being outsourced. So for those kind of companies, imagine the margin. Even if you're taking 2%, 3% every for
On
every month,
volumes, it's
it
huge.
will huge. It will
It's
be
huge.
huge. Yes. What about, we haven't discussed about Amazon? Have you discussed about
Yeah,
think
yeah.
thought about
So we
Amazon?
do quite a lot of our business on Amazon. Very recently, we just moved, but it's a high ticket business. Want to discuss, but to open an Amazon business here, it's very easy. It's a click of a button.
Yeah.
You do that, you can open a drop shipping on e-commerce business too. But with Amazon, you should have good inventory.
Mm-hmm.
The, obviously, electronics is one part of what you do, so, but you have to have that certification of whatever you sell
Hmm.
in Dubai because of it's regulated. So let's suppose you're a dealer of a car or parts or something. You should have that certificate as a dealer or reseller because Amazon won't let you sell
Hmm.
someone else parts, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So you have that regulatory
Right.
thing going on
Right.
here. So you
Unless it's unbranded thing like
unbranded thing,
phone
even
case and.
that yeah.
Hmm.
So let's suppose if you can sell towels and on your names to
You can
any
make
other
your own
things.
brand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I've seen that even if you're starting small, you should be thinking about scaling up because even with Amazon,
And
if you.
Amazon actually gives you powers to sell not just here in the UAE, you're selling it in Saudi or
Yes.
in the UK with FBA
Yeah.
and everything. So you can expand
Hmm.
a lot of things. But you should have that, that approach on product, is so important in Amazon.
Right. So all these businesses that we've discussed are mostly either if you're starting new, or you can, let's say, staying here in the UAE with 9 to 5, and then you can also delve into these businesses. These are all, but these are in some way or the other active businesses.
Yeah.
So let's discuss something about passive investments as well, where you can have without thinking about a lot about the nitty gritty of businesses, you can invest your money and then it can generate passive income, because that is for some reason that is called as passive, because one is that you don't have to invest your time into these kind of investments. So what kind of options that you can think of?
Well, first of all, ask Wali Khan for this because he's the king of passive income in this field. So, whom I am to talk about in front of him? But of course, passive income. If you have a functioning job or a primary job and you want to have an passive income, to it,
First of all, how important it is, because a lot of people thinks that if they have a lot of money coming in through their salaries, they don't think of passive income a lot because their kitchen is being run very well. They still can do a lot of things, but eventually one must look into the lens through the financial independence, and
yeah.
passive income gives you that
Absolutely,
kind of.
absolutely. So passive income obviously is it's a very hard thing to do, but once you crack that code and
Yeah.
that money, even 20 or 30% of your salary comes in,
Hmm.
without you working, it gives you a backup.
Hmm.
So let's suppose a small, if you're earning 30,000 dirhams and you get around 5,000 dirhams,
Hmm.
around roughly around 12 to $1,400 in a month income. You don't have to spend on your own salary on
Hmm. Hmm.
holidays. It actually helps you with small numbers. It grows into bigger numbers.
Hmm.
But passive income is obviously is a thing now.
Hmm.
It gives you a backup,
Hmm.
right? If something goes wrong with your job or anything in Dubai, it gives you that
Hmm.
thing. And once you've cracked it in your good times, it would help you in the bad times, and that's the whole idea of it, right?
Hmm.
um, um, avenues. So Airbnb to me is, for me, is a passive income stream.
Yeah, because you're
And
not investing a lot of time there.
no, I'm not. Obviously stocks. You talk about Sawa and crowdfunding resources like you're a brand ambassador for how many I
No, I'm
know.
not a brand ambassador, but actually I like those products, so that's why I'm talking about those companies, and they are. I only talk about those companies which I'm
Of course,
investing myself.
of course, and
Yeah.
I became a user after watching your videos.
Just a quick break. If you want to start your journey with real estate investment in Dubai with a very small amount, as low as 500 dirhams, you can use my referral code in the description below for both the platforms of Smart Crowd and Get Sick. Both of these platforms, you can start investing with 500 dirhams only. You can have fractional ownership of the properties that you invest in, and you get the rental return every month. I have portfolios with both the platforms. The link is in the description for the referral. Terms and condition apply. Now let's get back to the video.
So it gives you that platform and that confidence that if Wali Bhai is doing it, so I could do it, and any other person would have done it. So passive income is so stocks, Airbnb, anything which actually gives you or you are comfortable with,
Yeah.
which you don't have to spend a lot of time and it gives out money to you, is regarded as a passive income. So uh, um, Airbnb to even a rental
Rental is a passive
income,
income.
passive
Yes.
income,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Stocks.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in stocks, and then you can just open a small business aligned to what you do, where you can spend or you outsource that business to a manager, becomes a passive income. But passive income is so important. It gives you a backup or a leverage. It gives you confidence. It if
Liberates you.
it liberates you. It helps fight inflation.
Yeah.
It gives you that self confidence that my money has been put into good work
Yeah.
instead of being wasted.
Yeah, but at the same time, we need to also emphasize that a lot of people are dubbed into thinking about inflation, because inflation is high, let's say, especially in third world countries. And also here, we didn't face that kind of inflation, but there is a fear of inflation because of what? People are investing in places where they are guaranteed more returns than the inflation itself. So let's say if you're having 5% of inflation, they're promising at the time, let's say 10% of returns. But one has to understand that the higher the returns, the higher the risk, and people are given the let's say they were told that this kind of money that they're going to get is guaranteed, which is not. And
A lot of people are conned with
account
that.
for that,
Yeah.
yes, like uh, I won't say crypto in that sense, but a lot of crypto coins and such kind of ponzi schemes are there.
I don't believe crypto. I'm a very conservative in part of investment, and I think one has to be conservative
Yeah, with their money.
with your money. And crypto to me is not an asset class. I'll tell you why. My definition of an asset class is anything which could be mortgaged or lended to a bank is to me an asset, right? And in this is the
Right.
real world example of
Yeah.
it. Can we can we lend? Would any bank accept crypto or Bitcoin as a collateral?
No.
No, not in the world. Can any bank would actually go on in very Pakistani terms would go on to keep a Bahria town apartment as a collateral? It
No,
won't,
it
because it
won't.
doesn't have a lease,
Yes.
right? So anything which could be mortgaged is collateral. Sorry, is an asset, right?
Yes.
And anything that cannot be mortgaged is just piece of paper,
Yeah.
right?
So one has to see out of proportion returns. One has to stay away from that.
Yeah,
Although the passive
we
income
see
is
all
good.
these shining stories of I bought one Bitcoin and everything, and these are about 1 in 6 or 8 billion people, right?
Yeah.
Right, and we tend to see these things. We don't see millions of people who invested in stocks and grown. The whole of US has grown. I know Indians, we would do a podcast in Hindi and Urdu sometime afterwards. But just to give you a perspective, in Indians, 41% of Indians want reinvest their savings and not keep them.
Yeah.
Right. Even in Pakistan, you have exceptionally good saving rates, and everything. Stock market's done you know,
Very well for the last for the last year, and then coming into this year as well.
coming into this year. So there are real avenues where we can invest and
But the
make a
but the
young.
problem is nobody wants to get rich slowly. As I think
Yeah,
Warren Buffett said that, or Charlie Munger, I don't know whom said that, but that's the problem.
yeah.
People want to get rich quick, and there the con men come.
And another aspect, I always give advice. You see, we both are sitting. We're not very fond of cars. We
Hmm.
just bought a big car. I told Wali about it, and we were discussing about. And I I think with you should buy a comfortable life. You should when you have money, but money. If you have money, doesn't you have to be wise in spending it. No matter how you're a billionaire or a millionaire.
Hmm.
People say people didn't make that money for me and you,
Hmm.
right? We worked hard for that, right? So we have to spend that money past, and I think always uh, after 40, when we see our children grow up and and everything, I think every dime of that what we have earned belongs to the for to a next generation, not to us.
Hmm.
So we have to be very careful in spending our money. Don't spend it on flashy things,
Hmm.
buy a retirement plan, I always say,
Hmm.
a pension fund,
Hmm.
right? Real estate won't go anywhere. you know Instead of a bloody BMW 5 series or a Mercedes
Hmm.
thing with
Hmm.
have a comfortable and decent car. I
And you
wouldn't
can if you can afford it, then it's fine.
Even if you can afford it, but
Why to splurge? Yes,
why to have that
it's
extra thing.
all about priorities as well. What you have in life. If you want to have a
To keep my life, better, I've kept a driver,
hmm,
instead of a better car.
car.
It is my choice, right? Because driver gives me more flexibility, more time to work, and because I work with my
Yeah,
brain, right?
yeah, yeah.
So it gives us more leverage of more peace living in Dubai.
Hmm.
And small talk on having drivers and maids and everything. It should have a different section on it. But I think a lot of people don't move out of these third world countries, India and Pakistan. And I wouldn't say third world country now to India because it's a $3.5 trillion
Huh,
economy.
huh.
But point is, a lot of people don't, because of their things, don't move out to Dubai or US or anything, because if you have that money, you can still hire a driver here or the maid here. A maid would cost you like 22,000 dirhams. A driver would cost you around 2,000, 3,000 dirhams in Dubai.
Hmm.
The only part is you have to sponsor that
Yeah, yeah, the total
that
cost will be slightly higher
slightly higher, but around just add 500 dirhams
per month.
extra
Yeah.
per month to it. But you make your life easier. So if you have that disposable money, use it to make your life more comfortable. There
Yeah.
are options here everywhere. The real estate is expensive, so you don't get servant quarters.
Hmm.
You have to. So there are a lot of that sort of thing, which keeps life at ease. But it's your life. You know how to spend it,
Hmm.
and I always think just make your life more easier and peaceful
Yeah,
than
yeah.
complicated.
And new flashy car will not make it easier. It
Absolutely.
will give you adrenaline rush for first 1 month, 2 months at max, and then after that it will become old. And then the monthly payment that you're paying for that car is going to be teasing you, even if you've purchased that car on cash.
So the psychology of money says that if you have a Ferrari,
Hmm.
and it goes, a red splashing Ferrari goes, the people won't notice you but the
The
Ferrari.
Ferrari itself.
Right?
Yes, yes.
So nobody's interested in you, right?
Hmm.
Don't show off. Prioritize your money, prioritize yourself, prioritize your health. It is the biggest investment.
Hmm.
You learn it when you grow up.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep meeting your friends. Mental state is so important. People, I have friends who now goes to shrink every month, to a psychologist, because your mind therapy is so important now.
Hmm. Hmm.
Meeting, always say, living away from your own country is obviously it's a curse itself, because you try to you isolated yourself from your own people, so it's difficult to Jelen and everything. But make friends, talk to people. They say now a friend a day keeps a
Keeps a
doctor
doctor away.
away.
Yeah. A friend should be a proper one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This when you get to know who's right and wrong.
Hmm.
No, you can't call anybody your friend, but obviously, talk to people, socialize.
Hmm.
People tend to get isolate. Watch podcasts, read books.
Read books.
Spend time with the family.
Hmm.
Money would obviously money is there to make your life comfortable, right? And that's about it.
Hmm.
Right.
It's not
uh,
there to complicate things.
Complicate things.
Yeah.
And I think it's a simple mantra. So Dubai to us is one of the reasons for us. I write.
Hmm.
It gives me so much peace, right now.
So if somebody wants to reach out to you on the socials, I'll mention all the socials that that you're on.
Yeah, I had about 1.5 million Twitter followers. I left Twitter in 2006.
Really?
Yeah, 2016. Yeah, 616. It had an effect on my mental health. It came to a point where I cannot write. I was so concentrated, so I decided to quit.
Great.
I'm on Instagram. Anybody wants help, always there to help. You can reach out to my email address. Just mention my
Okay.
email
Sure.
address on this. So Dubai is happened to us accidentally. We never wanted to be in Dubai,
Hmm.
but once we came here, we fell in love. We with Dubai, and I think there's no place like Dubai in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Nice meeting, Ali, and thanks for coming. And we'll have more podcasts depending on
Absolutely.
the. Definitely do comment and here wherever you're watching this video on, or let's say the podcast. So do comment. And last thing from your side, anything you want to say?
I say, spend your money wisely. If you want to invest in strictly, try to investigate, try to research, ideally work in that field
Yeah.
for 3 or 6 months, or to understand that, and then invest
Hmm.
in that business. It'd be more
Hmm.
safer.
Right.
Yeah,
So thanks a lot, and we'll meet again for the next
absolutely.
podcast, inshallah.
Excellent. Lovely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Inshallah.